Hey, it's Lise from the Google AdWords and Analytics agency Holini. In this video and the series that follows, I'll give you great tips on how to structure and build your Google AdWords account. In this first video, you'll learn about why it's even necessary or unnecessary to have more than one campaign. You'll see 3 best practices on how to structure your account into campaigns, and you'll learn how to choose your campaign settings. Plus, at the end, I'll give you a few great insider tips, so keep watching. Now, without further ado, let's get started. So, before establishing how many campaigns to use and how to structure them, you should look at your range of products or services and ask yourself how they differ from each other when it comes to profitability, for example. I'll give an explanation on that soon. The campaign level settings allow you to set a budget, language targeting, location targeting, device targeting, bidding strategy, ad schedule, and ad delivery. So if you want all these settings to be the same for all your products, do you really need more than one campaign? Technically, no. But if you want to have different settings for different product groups, it makes all the sense in the world to have separate campaigns for them. For example, let's say you're selling women's clothes. You have outerwear, dresses, and jeans. Dresses are your best-selling product group, and you get the most revenue from selling them. So in this case, it would make sense to bid more on these products and allocate more of your advertising budget to them. Even if you want to start with all the same settings for all your product groups, it might still be nice to have them in different campaigns just for more clear analysis. And I'll show you 3 ways to structure your campaigns that have proven to be most effective and clear for all the accounts that I've handled so far. First option, structuring your campaigns by product groups. This is definitely the most common and clear way to structure them when it comes to ease of analysis. And as the title says, you should structure your campaigns according to the groups of products or services that you offer. Now, let's come back to the clothing store example. In this case, it would make sense to have different campaigns for outerwear, dresses, and jeans. And this structure allows you to set different settings for different product groups. You may want to allocate a different portion of your budget to each campaign, meaning product group, and even if you want to start off with an equal or shared budget for them all, you can modify the budget's proportions later once you have already gathered some valuable performance data. And if you want to advertise in more than one country and have different budgets for all countries, you can create separate campaigns for different countries. For example, as shown on the slide here. This allows you to analyze the performance of all product groups in all countries with ease. If you're only starting to sell your products and don't yet have an idea of which ones are most profitable, you can set up a shared budget and add your campaigns to this budget. After a few days, this lets you see the proportions each campaign, meaning product group, is spending from the 250 and 150, and soon enough you can set individual budgets for all your AdWords search campaigns based on the data you've gathered. Now, the second way to structure your campaigns is doing so by the product or service group and also by the keyword match types. This structure is similar to the last, but a tiny bit more granular as it allows you to set different budgets and bids for different keyword match types. And the structure allows you to differentiate between people that search for the exact search term that you have set as a keyword and those who are searching for something more general or broad. And usually the people that are looking for something exactly like what you are offering, meaning something that is exactly your keyword, they are more valuable to you. So it makes sense to want to allocate more of your budget to them. For example, when your keyword is yellow dresses, then the exact match campaign's keyword and ad will be triggered when the person searches for yellow dresses. But when the person searches for yellow floral print midi dresses, they will be shown ads from the broad match modified match type campaign. Now, naturally, the person searching for the first option is more likely happy with what you have to offer and is more likely to convert, meaning make a purchase. And that's what you want. In this case, your list of campaigns would look something like this. But you really should consider, though, if you're going to want to differentiate between these 2 match types, as there's no point in setting up your account like this if you're just going to end up optimizing them the same way and hence just doubling your workload. Now, the third option, like the title says, this method means you divide your products and services into however many groups you'd like by their profitability or importance. The first one would be for the products or services that are most profitable to you, and you'd want to have a bigger portion of your budget allocated to them. You'd also be willing to pay more for the traffic since you know you'll earn more money if you sell these products. And the rest would be for the less profitable ones that you don't want to spend too much on. And your AdWords campaigns would look something like this. My personal favorite one is the first option, as I believe it's the easiest to get quick performance information from. And also the structure just seems very logical and easy to understand without requiring further explanations to anyone. Most e-commerce sites just use the same structure of product groups that they have on their website, so you don't even need to come up with a structure yourself. And once you have decided how you want to structure your campaigns, it's time to get started. And I'll now move to the AdWords interface to show you how to set everything up. Navigate to the Campaigns menu and click the plus button here to create a new campaign. Choose Search Network and create your campaign without a goal. This allows you to define more settings on your own without using presets. Check the Get Website Visits and type in your website. Continue. When naming your campaign, try to stay consistent. You can change the name at any time, but try to come up with a clear system for naming that includes all necessary information to differentiate between campaigns. Now, I like to name my campaign by first typing in the type of the campaign, separating it with a dash, and then naming the product group that I'm creating the campaign for, and then adding the language or location targeting to it as well. Now, for networks. We only want to use Search Network, so untick the Display Network. For locations, I am guessing you won't want to target all countries because that's just going to be too broad and quite expensive. So just type in your location. For languages, choose the languages that you want to target. Keep in mind that these languages indicate the language that people have set their Google search interface and language options to, not the language that they actually speak. Someone that lives in Austria and speaks German might have their Google search interface set to English. If your budget allows, you can choose the All Languages option by just removing the preset language. If not, choose the languages that your target audience is most likely to use when browsing the web. Now, bid strategy. This is something that you should test and set according to your goals and business. You can start with maximize clicks as you don't need to figure out a bid amount yourself. Google will automatically set the bids to get you the most clicks and traffic for your budget. You could also try the manual CPC, but that would need a bit more knowledge. You have the option of setting a maximum cost per click limit if you have a specific bid amount in mind that you definitely don't want to exceed. If you are only now starting with AdWords advertising, it would probably be good to even leave it blank for a little while to get an idea of how high or low the bids are in your industry. And if you check the checkbox Enable Enhanced CPC, you'll allow Google to exceed the maximum CPC that you just set when it assesses the person to be very likely to click on your ad. And entering a maximum CPC and enhanced CPC are optional. What isn't, however, is the budget. Let's say that I want to spend 20 euros per day. You can change your budget anytime, but you do have to set some initial budget now. It can be as high or low as you please. Now, while the daily spend may vary due to differences in search volume, Google makes sure that your monthly budget never exceeds your daily budget times 30.4. And once you have gathered some data and have an idea of the bids that are necessary to stay competitive in your field, you can switch to manual CPC or test some other bidding strategies. Delivery method. Make sure you have chosen the standard delivery. This is necessary for having enough budget to cover the entire day as opposed to spending your whole budget in the morning. Now here, you can set an end date for your campaign if you only want to advertise for a set time period, but you don't have to. You can always pause campaigns whenever you like anyway, if you haven't set an end date here. About ad extensions. I strongly recommend using ad extensions as it helps to increase your ad rank and ultimately enables you to lower your cost per click. Extensions you should definitely use are site links, callouts, structured snippets, and call extensions. And if you have a brick and mortar store, you should add the location extension as well. I do, however, recommend adding extensions a bit later. Let's click on additional settings. Make sure you have ad rotation set to optimize if you don't want to hassle too much with ad testing. Ad schedule. By default, it's set to all day, but you can change it if, for example, you only want your ads to be shown from 9 to 5 for some reason. Now, very important, location options. Change the target to people in your targeted locations. Otherwise, you will be showing your ads to people who have shown interest in your location. For example, if you're targeting the States and you have this option enabled, then people who have Googled the States or made travel plans to the States, they will also be shown your ads. But you don't want that if, for example, you don't ship outside the States. And exclude, leave this option. Once you click Save and Continue, the next step is to start creating ad groups. But we have a separate video coming on that very soon, so stay tuned. And now it's time for the insider tips that I promised you earlier. The first one is to add a campaign that targets your competitors' brand keywords. Here we can see that TransferWise, for example, is not bidding on their brand keywords. When someone searches for their brand name TransferWise, they are first amongst the organic search results, but their competitors have grabbed the ad spots above them. So when you are a competitor of TransferWise, it's a clever idea to add TransferWise as a keyword in your account, as someone that is searching for their services might also be interested in yours. If a competitor is using AdWords and their ad is shown first, there's usually no point in trying to get your ad to rank above theirs, as their ad relevance is obviously higher and competing would end up being very expensive and challenging for you. At least you could have the second or third position and let people know that you are a great alternative that they should also check out. And the second tip is to add a campaign for your own brand keywords to avoid someone doing this little trick mentioned in number 1 right back at you. This second tip is closely tied to the first one, as it is the very thing that allows you to battle your clever competitors who are using the trick mentioned in the insider tip number 1. Also, if your site's SEO isn't great or you're working on it, and we all know it takes time, bidding on your brand's keywords ensures you always show at the top of the search results page when someone specifically searches for your brand. The CPC is usually very low for your own brand keywords, as Google knows it's fair that you'd have a huge advantage of showing your ad higher compared to your competitors. Make sure that the budget allocated to your brand campaign isn't limited, as this is usually the most effective source of traffic with the highest click-through rate. Also, as we saw, if your ads are not showing up for your brand keyword searches, it's highly likely that your competitors' ads are. And who wants to lose to their competitors when the searcher is already specifically searching for your brand? However, there's a but. If your brand has great SEO, is ranked at the top of the search results page, and, this is key, no competitors are bidding on your brand's keywords, the necessity of using this strategy is debatable, as you might end up paying for clicks that would have come to your site from your first position organic search results anyway.
Thank you so much for watching. I'll add some great reading materials in the description bar below so you can learn more about the subject. If you have any questions at all, please post them in the comments below and I promise I'll help you out. Also, if you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe and turn on the notifications, because in our next video you'll learn everything about ad groups. Again, thank you for watching and happy AdWordsing!